Hi guys, welcome back to OCD Space. It's been a little while. I was actually working on a self-help training for people with OCD. So if you're interested in learning more about ICBT, check out the link in the description below. And for today's video, we are going to enter into controversy, which we have not shied away from ever. And we're going to go there. You, as someone with OCD, can and should be able to live with certainty. Why not? Why has this become controversial? We're going to talk about that today. Now, if you guys are liking these videos, please be sure to like and subscribe, and let's get to it. Are you someone with OCD interested in learning more about inference-based cognitive behavioral therapy? Well, I am excited to announce that I've got a new self-help course. It's available online, and it provides a complete overview of the approach and explains exactly how to use it to treat OCD. So if you're interested, check out my website, icbttrainingonline.com, or click the link in the description. Now back to the video. Welcome to OCD Space. I'm Mike Parker, and this is your place for all things OCD. So let's jump right in and talk about certainty. This is a word that isn't used a lot in OCD treatment because we've decided it's a bad goal for someone with OCD, that the answer is to accept uncertainty. That's how you return to healthy functioning, by accepting that you can't know anything, and you just have to accept that anything's possible and risk is around every corner. And that's how you're going to get your life back from OCD. Now, for many people, I-CBT is bringing a big revolution to their lives because I-CBT is working on reestablishing actually a state of certainty. Saying that this whole idea of uncertainty, that's not actually how people are living. That's not how you're living, where you're not having an obsession. You're not sitting here accepting uncertainty. You're living with certainty. And so, that's the actual difference that's going on when you don't have an obsession, is you're simply living like you're certain. And so think of the areas where you're not currently having any sort of obsession, or think about some possibilities that you haven't considered today. What if your house is about to collapse? What if there's a serial killer on the loose in your neighborhood headed towards your house right now? What if a tree falls on you today? What if waiting outside your door is a rabid raccoon ready to jump and bite you and inject you with rabies? These are all real possibilities, right? We can't disprove them. We can't argue that they can't be possible. And you're not considering these things. You're not worried about them. And it is not because you engaged in compulsions. It's not because you checked out your window. And honestly, it's not because you're accepting these things as possibilities and that there's uncertainty in these areas. You just decided to trust the state of affairs in your life. You decided to trust that these things are not things you need to worry about. And that's what we mean when we say living with certainty. And there's no reason why you can't do the same thing in the area of your obsession, because you have chosen to live with certainty in countless other areas in your life and are continuing to do that on a daily basis. This is achievable. So when we work from an I-CBT perspective, we are looking at what is the state of affairs you have called into question. Maybe you've decided to ask yourself constantly if you're dirty or not. Maybe you've asked the question, am I going to get a scary disease, over and over and over again? Maybe you're wondering if you're someone who's going to be negligent and cause something really bad to happen. Maybe you're worried that you're capable of doing something truly terrible and horrific to other people. What should be a place where you're living with certainty has become a place where you're living with doubt. And that's the unhealthy state of living that we want to fix. And so to fix that, we're not going to accept uncertainty with I-CBT. We are going to work on reprioritizing reality-based information over possibility. We're going to undo all this obsessional reasoning. And so one of the first things we do is we identify what is it you called into question, and then we look at what are all the reasons you've built up for why you think you should doubt this state of affairs. There's going to be all kinds of things that you think that support your doubt in this area. So maybe you think it would be foolish to be certain about this thing. Maybe you think it's unsafe. You might think that you're susceptible to something bad happening in this particular area of life for some reason. We want to slowly just unravel all that OCD logic and realize you're only using this logic in one area. And why is that? Let's figure that out, because that's going to be our answer to undoing the OCD. Now, one thing I really want to emphasize here is we are not using this treatment to disprove possibilities. Sometimes people hear about ICBT and they think that's what they're supposed to be doing, and we don't want to do that. That's always been the trap with any OCD treatment, is trying to disprove a possibility. It's an impossible task. What we are doing is we are recognizing that there are infinite possibilities that surround us in the areas where you're having the obsession, in the areas where you're not. There are always going to be possibilities there, but we can still live with certainty, even though possibilities exist. Possibilities don't negate certainty. Anything's possible. And so I really want to emphasize that that's not the goal. The goal is to recognize that possibilities are only relevant when they're accompanied by actual sensory direct evidence. So we are not checking to attain certainty. We are not trying to disprove possibilities to become certain. We are getting back to a effortless state of trusting our senses, trusting the quiet and the safety that exists in our life, and recognizing that information that is concerning will make itself known. It will come to us, and our senses will alert us if there's something we need to worry about. And if we don't have any information coming to us, then that is not something we need to explore. That is something that we can actually feel certain about. So I hope that this is clear. I hope this kind of explains how I-CBT is reintroducing this idea of certainty back into our goals with OCD, and how this is something that's achievable. It's a beautiful goal. It's one of the reasons why I love I-CBT, because I see it actually being attained when you utilize this treatment. Anyway, hope this was a helpful video, everybody. And until next time, take care and trust yourselves.